Reports are emerging that Prigozhin has refused to sign contracts with Russia's Ministry of Defense for the troops and his forces that were loyal to him. And this will mean, as a first consequence, that those are troops and forces that will not be available to Russia in its war with Ukraine. And that is a huge setback. This was the only military force that Russia produced that was effective. It captured Bakhmut after 9 months, more like 10 months of the bloodiest war and the bloodiest fighting that this whole conflict has seen. Without that force, Russia will be severely depleted. The only force really that worked for Russia is not available to Russia anymore, going by the reports suggesting that this will be the position that Prigozhin has finally taken. The alternative was always an unlikely one, that the forces loyal to Prigozhin, his forces, would then sign contracts with the very generals that Prigozhin had opposed and in fact rose against in a rebellion, so that the generals that were targeting Prigozhin should then become their bosses. This was not going to be a changeover that appeared very plausible or very workable. This also now raises the question and the possibility of Prigozhin's future. A lot of people had been writing that off, considering that he will not be a political or military force anymore. But Prigozhin seems to be operating with a degree of freedom now, independent of Kremlin, to the extent that he can order his men to not work for the Kremlin. And this puts Prigozhin in a power position that not many were foreseeing for him for some time. This also raises questions about Lukashenko. He is the one now harboring and sheltering Prigozhin and clearly permitting a degree of independence for Prigozhin, independent of the Kremlin. And this then can place Lukashenko in a power bargaining position with Russia and particularly with Putin, that Belarus and Lukashenko himself may look to work to his advantage. A great deal of churning taking place now at the top level within Russia. Very clearly, the signs are that this is not the end of the problems for Putin. That never did look likely, and this is a space that needs to be watched now very carefully indeed.